If this West Memphis wasteland doesn't look like your typical schoolyard, that's probably because the Nightmare Ken Wayne School of Professional Wrestling isn't your typical school.
We teach history and stuff. You know, you got to know where you come from. If you want to be a musician, hell, if you're a guitarist, you know who Les Paul is. If you play electric guitar, you know who Les Paul and what's her name, Ford. God.
The Ken Wayne School of Professional Wrestling is looking for new students. Think you've got what it takes to make it in the ring? Train with wrestling legend Nightmare Ken Wayne. Learn the ins and outs of the wrestling game. Train to be a professional wrestler, manager, or referee. Women are encouraged to apply.
Ken Wayne wrestled across the United States, Canada, Puerto Rico, and the better part of 3 decades. He's a second-generation ringsman, the son of Buddy Wayne, a promoter and mid-century staple of Memphis wrestling. He's also the father of Eric 3G Wayne, a controversial newcomer who bills himself as a third-generation superstar. Wayne performed alone, and also with Danny Davis as half of the Nightmares, a high-flying masked tag team put together by WWE Hall of Fame manager Jimmy Hart, the Mouth of the South. In 2005, Wayne retired and opened his school.
I retired at 46. I had spent 26 years in the ring. I could tell my skills were starting to slip. And I didn't be one of those guys that'd be the last one to know I should have quit a couple of years ago. I wasn't going to let that happen. I probably hit my prime around 35 or so, really, to be honest about it. I retired. I was off about 8 months, and I realized I didn't have a job. Yeah, I needed to do something. It's just one of those things to where, I got to have a gig, and I can give back, and this is what I know. A lot of things are not natural, but if you learn that and you do it enough, it becomes natural.
So who are the would-be superstars of tomorrow's WWE? What brings them to the Nightmare Ken Wayne School of Professional Wrestling? And what do they hope to take away when they graduate? To borrow a line wrestling instructor Kevin Kid Nichols sometimes uses before his fights, ding ding, class is now in session.
Just hook that arm right there, pull from the back, pull it in, and step back. Or, since your hand is already right here, right, just hook them under the chin right there. Pull it in. Okay? I anticipated about a 2/3 quitter. It's closer to 80-90% quitter.
I'm a construction worker, build houses, new construction, out in the sun, in the cold, whatever.
I probably run a lot of people off, because I tell them exactly what they're getting their ass into. I don't want them, I ain't going to blow smoke up their ass. I ain't going to do it. I will not do it. I think that's wrong.
I am a Walgreens DTR technician. I'm basically an electronics repairman for Walgreens. I fix everything in the store from the alarm systems to the computers.
I may have a dozen guys in here today. Next week I may have 5.
Well, on the civilian side, I work at Applebee's as a bartender. Other than that, I've been in the military for the past 8 years and work in the National Guard. I'm stationed over in Memphis, Tennessee right now.
But I believe, as I have guys come in, gosh, right off the bat, what kind of gimmick can I be? I said, shut the fuck up. Learn your craft, and you can be any gimmick they ask you to be.
I think I learned a lot of balance from it because, be on a scaffold real high on a little board, and then I come in here I think tall guys kind of have a hard time with balance sometimes, but, when you don't want to fall off something, you try and stand up straight.
It's like playing guitar and just learning just country. I think you need to learn a little classical. You might want to learn a little boogie woogie, a little 12-bar, hell, I play everything. Of course, I play a lot of Beatles because I like Beatles, but I also play Fur Elise, that tune. Just for the hell of it.
I'm a personal trainer. I work at a gym.
I'm DJ Stigall, and basically I'm here at the Ken Wayne School of Professional Wrestling because it's my life.
It's kind of like, some things we teach is kind of like the Karate Kid movie, wipe on, wipe off. You're learning shit and don't know it. If you can master these things, then you can do any of it. A standing arm drag, a hip toss, and a body slam. lot of guys I see can't lock up properly. A grabby roll, alligator roll, hitting the ropes is fundamental. Guy had to do a gut wrench takedown. You know, be able to go from a top wrist lock to a bottom wrist lock to a hammer lock to a full Nelson, a reverse of full Nelson, double reverse of a full Nelson. A headlock to a top wrist lock, a headlock spin around to a drop toe hold. Because everything is built off of the things I just got through telling you. If you can master those, then the rest of it comes easy.
Really, I've been a fan of the sport ever since I was a little kid. And
It's kind of funny, the first time I saw wrestling, I didn't like it.
It's everything I've always wanted to do since I was a little boy.
Because it was Channel 5, it was Saturday mornings, and it cut into cartoon time.
We had a ring in the backyard all my life. I was in a lot of dressing rooms. Got to be around some of the greatest wrestlers in the world in the 60s and 70s. Learned a lot from those guys, and didn't know I was learning a lot of times. You know, I mean, there was like wrestling holds and stuff that I know, and my dad has asked me sometimes, how do you know those things? You know, because things he doesn't know. And kind of what it was the guys, there's a kid in the dressing room, guys are going to jack with him. You know, they're going to, aggravate him and do stuff. Well, they'd grab me and they'd put holes on me sometimes, and it'd hurt me a little bit. Well, when that guy would leave the dressing room, this guy over here would go, hey, come here, let me show you what to do next time he does that. And then I'd go, hey, come mess with me, and I try to get him to grab me so I could, try it out on him, So, I mean, that's the way I grew up.
The time that Channel 5 Wrestling would come on, I think it came on about 11 a.m. at that time. That was bath time for us. And I hated it. Oh, it was terrible because we had to cut the cartoons off and go take a bath and let Grandpa watch us wrestling for an hour.
It was something I did all the time. It was part of my life, Some dads would take their sons to T-ball games or, different stuff like that. Well, my dad wrestled 4 or 5 nights a week, so up until I started school, I'd go with him 2 or 3 times a week, and it was just part of my life.
Speaking of highlights, Billy Robinson, I was about 17, and he was a great, what they call a shooter, hooker, can just hurt your ass in a heartbeat. Knuckle locks and joint locks and shit, right? And he told me he wanted to learn to play guitar. And he says, for every chord you'll show me, I'll show you a finishing hold. So I wasn't going to pass that up. And I used to go to Nashville, I was hauling the ring and refereeing and stuff. Well, he'd always get to his apartment first. I would get there and we'd play guitar, drink a little beer, push the furniture back, but he'd get on the floor and wrestle with daylight. We'd wrestle a little bit, get up and have some more beer, play a little guitar, have a little more beer, get on the floor and wrestle a little bit. I had carpet burns all over me and stuff. But he gave me a philosophy about that catch-as-catch-can wrestling that it was invaluable to me when it comes to that. But the thing is, you have to, and here it was simple. He said, you keep going till you get something.
But I really didn't think at one point that I would be the type of guy who would be able to jump off the second rope or something and hit some sweet move and make it look really, really awesome.
When I turned 12, I saw WWE, which was WWF at the time, and that caught my eye. And I got more into the showmanship of WWF.
I know I wanted to wrestle when I was like 3 years old. My dad used to have me in the living room. We'd be watching wrestling and wrestling in the living room, jumping off the couch. And
my dad had made me learn promotion, promotion.
My earliest memory I have of wrestling was actually with my dad.
Jumping on, elbow dropping him, kicking him in the balls and all that.
About setting up the shows and built rings, hauled the rings, did a little bit of everything.
Well, my father was Ken Wayne, and he wrestled, everywhere from Canada to Mexico down to Puerto Rico. I can remember being, 4, 5, 6 years old in the dressing room and Memphis TV and stuff with guys like Eddie Gilbert and Brian Christopher and Sid Vicious and Lawler and Dundee and, all these different guys, Jeff Jarrett and people like that. And to me, they were nobody because it was just guys at my dad's work.
It was a different life. I grew up, being on the road was natural to me. It was a natural thing to me. I remember on Fridays, a lot of times my dad, we had to go to Huntsville, Alabama, And then like the next day, have to do like Chattanooga TV in the morning, Chattanooga house show that night, and then drive to Birmingham, which was an hour's time difference, and do a live television show at 11 o'clock that night.
I always remember being on the road, 7, 8, 9, my whole life. I was always on the road with him, going to different towns.
You know, and he'd wait on me on Friday afternoons to get out of school, and we'd make get to Birmingham, to Huntsville just in time, for that show.
When you're a little kid, you're like, wow, that's awesome.
I'm now 31 years old, so it's kind of an age thing with me now, and I just want to do what makes me happy, and my wife has been behind me on this, and it was kind of cool. She's actually the one that told me to go do it, because she saw how depressed I was just sitting on the couch watching them do it, and she said, go do it, get it out of your system.
The biggest problem I had is I was small, especially when I started, man, gosh, and through the '80s and stuff. It was a big man's game, and I still got to carve out a career for myself.
The size is a big plus, sure, but it's not a be all and end all. No.
Like WWF and that kind of it's like the top notch. So.
The whole thing up there is you have to look like an athlete. If you're 185 pounds and you're ripped to shreds and you can actually wrestle and you don't, trip over yourself getting in the ring, chances are you might get hired, you might get a job and get to the big show.
Years ago, it was 6'3", 6'5", 280, 310. But look nowadays, the guys that are making huge money. Rey Mysterio, he's smaller than me, but he's tremendous. He's got more ability in his little finger than I've ever had in my entire body.
They're looking for that certain look, And
I made my way and made a career in this business for 30 plus years, and hopefully 30 plus more if I live that long, is to paraphrase Gene Hackman's coach McGinty in the greatest movie of all time, The Replacement, heart. Tons and tons of heart.
And I kept the dream, even through all the criticism in school, oh, you're too small, you're too small. But it's my life, and it's what I want to do, so I'm here doing it.
I weigh about 220, 225, 225 pounds, 6'3", 6'4", I guess.
But nowadays it's attitude, ability, charisma, along with size.
I think if I'm 250 pounds, 260 pounds, that'll be pretty good.
But if you look through history, there's a lot of smaller guys that made a big impact on the business. Eddie Guerrero, Chris Jericho, those guys weren't that big, but they were top guys. And I'm not that big stature-wise, but I have a huge heart and I have a passion for this business it's all I've ever wanted to do. It's everything.
It's a cool feeling to get in front of 10, 15,000 people and have them right there in the palm of your hand that'll stand them up and set them down. I just want to get in the ring and wrestle. I knew I could do what those guys were doing, and I thought that I could be good at it. And it wasn't the celebrity or notoriety or the glory or whatever you want to call it. It was never that. It was never about that.
Well, it's like sometimes you can have a real bad day, or you're real stressed out, and I could come in here and once I get in the ring, get started wrestling, it goes away. You think about throwing this guy around or punch him in the head, and I don't really feel so. You take out your frustrations in there, and you forget about what's bothering you outside the door. And I've always said this is like therapy to me. Sometimes you come in, I like to get knocked around, and I like to knock people around too. So it's like going to the doctor's office, and in this way, I guess.
Without this business, I'd either be dead or in prison. I knew how to do nothing. I was uneducated. I had no motivation but to make a living, to not starve in the street, to survive, and to be in the professional wrestling business, which was my life. It's all I cared about. Heart, my soul, my body, everything cared about this business.
The times I gone like a week without coming in and training, and I just felt so pent up frustration inside that I wanted to kill some roommates, I guess.
And it wasn't about the glory, it wasn't about signing autographs, it wasn't about money. You know.
I guess it's adrenaline, in a sense. You know, adrenaline gets me excited a lot. You know, I used to always play those kind of sports, like I'd be into martial arts and other stuff like that. That kind of gets me on. That gets me on that kind of adrenaline level, and that just gets me excited on that. And then aside from that, professional wrestling is just, you know, it's something different. You know, it's not just you know jumping here, do this for a couple minutes and go somewhere. You know, there's actually much more with it.
You're more than just a face to be put on a screen punching somebody. You know, you're actually a wrestler.
It's like you're not only performing athletically, but you're putting on a show for the fans that the fans can interact with, and that's a whole new level of professionalism that you really can't find anywhere else. And it's something pretty exciting that I figured I might want to be a part of.
Really, I wanted the other wrestlers and the peers to say, "Man, you're good. You did a good job."
I'm just lucky, happy, and overjoyed to be a part of the WWE machinery.
Downtown Bruno Lauer, also known as Dr. Harvey Whippleman, has always been a little man in an abnormally large man's world. Lauer, who assists at the Ken Wayne School, joined a traveling carnival wrestling show when he was only 13. He developed his heel manager routine in Memphis in the 1980s and can lay claim to at least one WWE title belt. He still works for the WWE, only not in the spotlight.
Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, is one of my dearest friends ever since he was about 11 years old. His dad, Rocky Johnson, one of my best friends, one of the guys that took care of me when I first broke into business years ago. So we were very, very close. So when Dwayne, Dewey was his name then, Dewey, but he hated that. No, call me DJ, don't call me Dewey. Don't tell people my name's Dewey. Okay, when DJ came to Memphis, when he first broke into business, he had no money, he had no place to stay, he had nothing. So he asked me, could he stay with me? Well, I had a place up in Lakeview where I practically grew up, lived there for years and years and years. I said, of course you can stay with me. Old trailer in Lakeview, he stayed in the back room. He had no money, he had no place to stay, he had nothing. So he asked me, could he stay with me? Well, I had a place up in Lakeview where I practically grew up, lived there for years and years and years. I said, of course you can stay with me. Old trailer in Lakeview, he stayed in the back room. Saturday morning came, it was time for Memphis TV that everybody from Memphis knows Saturday morning was live studio wrestling TV. So, you know, I woke up really early because I was in charge of making sure the ring was put up and took down. He didn't have to be there till like 9 o'clock. He says, Bruno, are they going to pay me anything this morning? I said, well, $25 is what you get. Oh, well, I don't have any money right now. Can you lend me some money to, just get some gas in my vehicle and get up to Channel 5 and maybe stop and get an Egg McMuffin or something? I says, let me see. And I reached in my wallet. I had a $100 bill in my wallet, and I had a 5 and 2 ones. Well, you want to borrow this 100, or I got $7? Oh, $7 will be fine. You're gonna pay me this morning, right? Yeah, okay. Yeah, $7. Yeah, that's fine. So I give him $7. Never thought no more of it. Never. Well, fast forward, as everybody knows, The Rock became one of the hugest stars in the history of our business, and huge movie star, and Get Smart, The Mummy, The Scorpion King, Run Down, Be Cool, whatever. I never thought about the $7. One day the UPS man knocked on the side of my knocked on my door outside. I didn't know what he wanted. He gave me this big square package. Well, he paid me back my $7. I had forgotten all about it, but apparently he hadn't. That speaks a lot to his character. Can you make a living in our business not being the WWE? It's in this day and age, it's very difficult. Okay, in this day and age, it's almost impossible. Now you can go to Japan.
Japan to Mexico to England, Puerto Rico, Thailand, different places like that. There's wrestling all over the world.
You can struggle what they call the independent circuit, which I never had to deal with because I was always booked through a booking office. Because in our day, there was always Territories, which was actually a booking office. Now, if you're good enough, this independent promoter will book you this night, this one that night, this one that night, so on and so forth, and you can just try to put together a living. That's almost like being a guy that's trying to cut grass for a living. Hopefully you get enough people that want to let you cut their grass, paint houses or whatever.
I got the same dream as every teenage guy, WrestleMania. But
They watch TV and go, oh, what a great life. Bullshit, man. You seen about 10% of what it took to get into that, if that much.
With WWE, I'm basically the head concierge, which to me is a fancy word of saying gopher, errand boy, whatever. I don't care. I have no ego. I'm proud and happy to be making a living in this profession and at the level of the WWE after 30 years. It could be anything. Mr. McMahon wants steak and lobster in his office for a meeting of 5 people. So you don't have 5 steak and lobsters, you have 10. You make sure there's enough for everyone. Better more than less. I make sure Stephanie Levesque McMahon has coffee every day. She likes coffee, Starbucks coffee, certain, blend or whatever. She's a great girl, and she's very nice to me, and she is my superior.
I love the business as a whole. I'd love to do any of it.
And she has what she wants, when she wants, before she wants it.
I used to sit around with my friends, in the living room, watch wrestling. We discuss ideas, what we would do if we were booking the show, who we'd put against each other, storyline ideas we'd do.
Triple H, another great guy, I'd take care of whatever he needs. All the top guys, not just him. Undertaker, John Cena, Rey Mysterio, all the top guys.
I just love wrestling as a whole, but the physical part's fun.
Because in the old days, there was territories all over the country. I've got guys booked. Hey, man, you're doing a pretty good job. There's no spots here in Memphis, but I got a connection in Kansas City. I'll get you booked out there. I got a connection in Alabama, Louisiana, blah, 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 whatever. Get somebody booked. Truthfully, now, where are you going to get booked? If you ain't working for the company I work for, that thank God I am, WWE, where are you going to make a living in our business,
But don't let that discourage me. There's other routes to take, like, maybe go to Puerto Rico or Japan. Just trying to branch out my name.
In 1999, downtown Bruno, Harvey Whippleman became the WWE Women's Champion as a transvestite. I came out to the ring dressed like a woman. I wrestled the Cat, Stacey Carter, Jerry the King Lawler's ex-wife, and I won the match. And I had an incredible championship reign of 24 hours. Because the next night, we was in Pittsburgh that night, the next night was in Detroit, and Miss Texas Jacqueline Moore somehow beat me the next night and won the championship.
Growing up watching WWE on TV, like most kids, they look really cool, all those guys. And
this is my action figure. This is me, downtown Bruno, with John Gonzalez, the guy I managed in '94 in WWE. WWE classic superstars. Classic, another word for washed up, or maybe somebody that was somebody one day. I'm nobody now. Some guy making a good living.
It hurts? Yes, it does.
Ow!
The stuff that you would least expect to hurt hurts.
The thing with wrestling is everybody says professional wrestling is fake. They say that we know how to fall, we pull our punches, we do this, we do that. My reply is I've knocked out guys' teeth, I've broken their orbital bones, I've shattered their knees.
One of the few times I took off when I was injured, and I had kept wrestling for 2 weeks with a cerebral fluid on my spine. And I finally realized one night that I was hurt pretty bad when I went down on it. And this lady that was with one of the wrestlers gave me 4 100 milligram Darvons, and I took all 4 of them and was just as straight. But I should have been asleep, and I realized, oh man, I'm hurt a lot worse than I thought, and I was still hurting,
hitting that mat, knowing it's gonna hurt, it's like it's mentally frustrating sometimes, but it's a whole lot of fun.
I believe it's called an Alabama Slam, and I'd never taken one of those before, and just watching it, from the viewer's perspective, it just looks like, oh my gosh, that how can you take that? That looks like it's just so painful. And I took it, and after I got laid out, even though I landed right and I really didn't get injured, I was kind of like I was out of it for like almost the rest of the night.
Hitting the ropes hurts a lot more than you think watching it on TV, but it's a lot of fun.
It's like the little minor things. That's the stuff that hurts, and then you're like, wait a minute, that's not supposed to hurt. Why is that hurting? It doesn't look like it hurts on TV. Why is that hurting?
But now, if you know what you're doing, you're not going to get injured. That's the important thing.
Wrist lock takedowns have been a problem for me. They hurt a lot.
A lot of the bumps that we take, a lot of the hits, a lot of the moves that we get tossed around and we get hit around the ring and all that good stuff. And then that Alabama Slam, for example, it's all a stepping stone to me to something better. Because even though it may hurt right now, eventually it'll pay off. All the efforts, all the training, all the bumps I've taken, all the blood, sweat, and tears, it all pays off in the end. And so I'm gearing myself towards that payoff. And that's why I keep going.
Every Friday night, Ken Wayne's school is transformed into the home of New Experience Wrestling.
Because tonight we have a big exciting card featuring some of the new superstars.
The NEW promotion creates an opportunity for Wayne's more advanced students to ply their skills in front of a crowd of die-hard wrestling fans who've discovered the secluded school and paid $5 a head to watch the young grapplers lock up.
It's 3G third generation wrestling superstar Eric Wayne.
New Experience Wrestling is a multimedia event. It's a show with everything, including commercials.
Hi, my name's Robert Walker. I'm the owner of Critter Getter. Big or small, we catch them all. Call us at 870-733-4059. We'll be there.
Go Critter Getters!
My career has gotten off to a rocky start here. I've made mistakes. I've had losses. And tonight, I can't afford to make mistakes. I can't afford losses. Realistically, guys my age at this point, you only really look about 10 years ahead, and you kind of put a point on yourself and say, I've got 10 years to either make it or break it, because WWE isn't going to want some 40-year-old guy walking around on television, stinking the place up. So I'm going for it. I'm seeing where the road takes me. If I find out I'm good at it, and I'll push hard for it, and so far so good. I haven't had any major mistakes, and I think I'm where I need to be.
Let's hear it for Ken Nichols. Continues to remain undefeated here in New Experience Wrestling. Before we talk about that,
A little bit of brawler, I guess. I'll hit someone in the face, no problem. But like any hold I do, you're gonna feel it. I'm not, I really like to wrestle. I get a kick out of twisting someone's arm around and doing, throwing them around by the arm, and anyway, really, it really comes down to if you really want to do this. Because like I've been here for almost 4 years, I've seen a lot of people come and go just because it's harder than what people think it is. It hurts a little more, and they think it's easy stuff, they got what it takes, but then it's a long road.
I'm what most of you would call a loser. That's right, I said it.
Being able to do a little bit of everything means that no matter what kind of opponent you go up against, you have something in your move bank that you can counter, and that you can use to counter the other guy. So it's always good to know a little bit of everything. I have no idea what the professional world may have for me somewhere down the line. I mean, if opportunities come up and that I'm able to take advantage of, then I'll take advantage of them. But aside from that, I just enjoy doing it.
And when you start wrestling, one of the things that you do is your dream and your aspiration is, I want to make it to the big show. I do whatever's asked of me. If they go out there and they say, we want you to eat the guy up and kick his ass, then I'll go out there and do that. if they say go out there and have a competitive match, I don't really have a style. I mean, I've done high flying stuff. I've dove from the top rope to the floor. I've dove through the ropes, over the ropes. I've jumped into over concession stands and into bleachers and all kind of, suplex some concrete floors and everything. I've done it all. I've done technical wrestling. I've done the brawling, like I just said. My dad trains us to do whatever's asked of us. Well, some people are in it for the money. Some people are in it for the fame. Some people want to do it just because they want to wrestle. And I love wrestling, but I don't want to, wrestle every Friday and Saturday and be what they call a weekend warrior, where you're just happy to wrestle in front of 100, 200 people. I want to go to that big show, to WWE.
If it's fun to me, then, hell, I got what I wanted.
Career-wise, if I stay in it for 5-6 years around here, I think I can call it a career, be honest and say that, I've done what I wanted to do, and be happy with what I'm doing.
I mean, I'm not in it for the celebrity status. It's never been about that for me. My goal is to be considered a great wrestler. Whether I get to WWE or not, that's great. I want to be the guy you look at, whether I'm wrestling in front of 5 people or 500 people or selling out Madison Square Garden. I want you to look at me and go, oh, that guy's a great wrestler. I'm in it for respect and to do what I love, and it's wrestle.
A lot of things are not natural, but if you learn that and you do it enough, it becomes natural.